Hi, my name is Manpreet Singh and welcome to my YouTube channel. This channel focuses on real estate and mortgage insights. This channel aims to empower viewers with the knowledge to make informed decisions in the real estate market. Please subscribe to stay informed about the Canadian real estate market. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I have a special guest, Simmi. Simmi, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to start with a few questions and we'll take the conversation from there.
Sounds
My
good.
first question to all my guests is, how long have you been in the business of real estate and what exactly inspired you to join real estate?
So I've been in real estate 6 years now.
Awesome.
And I actually never planned to be in real estate. So I used to work as a receptionist for Remax during my undergrad. So I was studying psychology and human resources while I was at York.
Okay.
And while I was studying, I just needed a part-time job. So I was working at Remax. And during those years, I remember a lot of agents would tell me, why don't you get your license? And obviously over time, you get to know a lot of agents while you're at front desk.
Nice.
So they tell me you have this quality, that quality, you would be good as an agent. And I thought, no way, no way. I do not think I will fit in. Family and friends would tell me just get it on the side. It would be like a good side hustle. I always said no. I thought, you know what? A lot of agents are very arrogant or kind of pompous. And I also was very shy. So I thought like, I'm never going to get clients. I'm not going to fit in. It's not going to work. I just had like such a negative perception. So I thought, no, it's not happening. Let it be. Fast forward several years, I start working full-time in human resources. Within 1 month, I knew I cannot do a 9 to 5. I cannot work full-time under someone. I was just so unhappy doing a 9 to 5. And I thought, you know what? I want to look into something where I'm my own boss, something entrepreneurial. And I thought, you know what? I'm young, at that time living at home. So I thought, you know, this is something I can sign up. Like if I sign up for anything or spend some money on something entrepreneurial, I have the advantage because I'm living at home. So I remembered a lot of people used to tell me to become an agent. And I kept thinking about it for a few months. And I thought, I don't know if I'll be good at this. Like, I'm so shy.
Right.
I don't really like the field. Anyways, I signed up for it. I thought, let's see. Everyone was telling me that there's something that maybe I'll have like these qualities that will work in the field. Why don't I just try it? Maybe people see something I don't.
True.
Signed up for it. I did each exam. I didn't think about it because I knew I'm going to psych myself out if I thought too deeply into it. And yeah, that's how I got my license. And I left HR and I haven't looked back since.
Amazing. So what I'm understanding is there was a lot of hesitation in the beginning that maybe this is the right field for me or maybe it's not. And a lot of people, what they do in their life is it's the hesitation that stops them from taking the step or pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And then once they take the step, they realize that this was the right decision for their life, right? Now, coming back to your early days and the real estate journey, did you face any challenges or how was those years or those days?
Yeah, there were quite a few challenges, to be honest, because when I started, I didn't join a team. I did try to partner a few times, but it never worked out. A lot of the people I'd partner with, they had families, so they would have to go home earlier, things like that. So I just always felt like I'm sitting in the office longer. So it just never worked out. It would be a few weeks always. But I felt like I had to learn everything from scratch.
True.
I think in one way, it makes you a lot tougher and it makes you a lot stronger because you had to rely on yourself and you had to kind of build everything up on your own. But also I see a lot of advantages of joining a team when you're new. So I think the beginning was really rough, just trying to even get clients. And then a big challenge also, I would do door knocking and cold calling at the beginning. And even my voice sounded way younger back then. And people would tell me on the phone, like, go back to high school. Like they were so rude. So it used to hurt. And I just keep dialing and keep going through it. Like my first listing did come through cold calling, but I just felt like I was always trying to sell myself because I seemed so young and looked really young at that time. So people just assumed that I was like just a baby in this field. So I felt like I was always trying to overcome that. I remember telling a few agents about that and they would always joke like dye your hair gray. So they'll like think you're so much older. But yeah, that was a big challenge, just being young in this field and then not being part of a team. And then I guess also just being kind of naive too, like not realizing people's intentions right away. Are they really interested in buying or selling? How to question people, how to figure out what their motives and goals are. At the beginning, you don't really know that. You're just so excited when a lead does call you that you're just ready to jump. You have to ask them certain questions to figure out what is their motive, what is their timeline, all of that. So those are some of the challenges.
So a right mentorship does help in the beginning for a new real estate professional, correct?
I believe so. And I think right when I started, I didn't have too much of that. And then when I joined Remax Hallmark, I had my manager, Jonder. He was a really good help and a really good mentor. So kind of telling me, like whenever I needed help, whenever I had any questions, I could call him whenever, just telling me how to start doing social media, what to focus on more. I think that helps a lot. Otherwise, when you start this field, it can be very overwhelming.
True.
And again, if you're on a team, I'm sure it's way less overwhelming. But when you're independent on your own, never had sales experience, you don't come from that background, no family or friends in it, it is a little overwhelming.
You wouldn't know what to do exactly,
At
right?
all. At all.
So coming back to your current situation in the real estate journey, how do you stay focused in such a competitive environment?
I think the big thing is, and I don't know if it's going to sound very cliche, you have to love what you do. And I'm not just saying that to like be sentimental. Honestly, you have to love what you do, because if you love what you do, it does not feel like work. When you really enjoy it, you have that passion for it, people even feel that off of you, right?
Right.
So I think when you enjoy it, every day is not going to feel like work. Yes, there are busier times. Yes, there's times you will feel overwhelmed, like in hotter markets like 2021, 2022. Those are markets which can be very tiring as well. But when you love your job, you're going to keep going. On top of that, also, you have to try to keep some balance with your personal life. So just trying to like keep some focus on things that you love as well. Like if it's health, if it's fitness, hanging out with your friends, family, hobbies that you have, just like try to keep those in the picture. I know, of course, when this field is busy, sometimes a few weeks go by, you might not focus on those things, but just keeping those things a little bit as well, just so you don't feel like you lose yourself in this, even if you love it.
True. And I was going to come back to the work-life balance. I think you pretty much answered it, that it's really important to have that balance so you don't get exhausted just working, right?
Yeah.
And now let's come back to your social media. And I remember the first time I watched one of your videos, probably was 2020 or almost 4 years ago. And then your social media changed after, I think, some time when you were consistent with your post on Instagram or Facebook. All of a sudden, I saw that now you're doing professional videos. And how did it help you in expanding your business or growing your brand?
To be honest, I do get asked that question quite a bit about who's your videographer, and I always share, or you know, like, do you think professional videos make a difference? I always tell people you have to just start first, because I was still getting leads even with the videos not being the best quality from my cell phone, editing on InShot app, like on my own, putting a backtrack that's like not copyright. So I used to do all of that on my own, and I was still getting leads out of that. I think it just hit a point where I was like, you know what, my business has grown a lot. I want a better look of my videos. I want them to look more professional. And then, of course, once you get some deals out of it as well, you start to realize, like, you know what, I should put more money into my business as well.
You start investing,
Exactly. Because at the beginning, you don't have much to invest in your business, so you have to do everything on your own. So I would literally take my iPhone 12, I would just go in front of wherever there was some sunlight, and then I just record in front of the sunlight. So I would do that, then I just edit it after. But still, again, there were leads.
And the camera shyness?
Pardon?
Was there any camera shyness in the beginning?
On my own, no, because it was just my own. But when I got the videographer, yes, there definitely was. Imagine. Because you're so used to just doing it on your own for 2 years. And then when you're working with someone else, you do feel really awkward. Or I felt very awkward. I felt very shy. And like, you know, they're telling you like move around, walk here, walk there. And you're like, I've never done this on camera. And you just feel super awkward. But then as you keep going, you get way more comfortable on camera as well. But I think it's just a process. I think I always tell people it's just better to start with whatever you can. But yeah, I think I just wanted to invest more in my business.
True. And in terms of generating leads or getting business from social media, that is still possible. If somebody doesn't have a lot of budget to get them professionally done, at least they can start off with what they have. And there's a good possibility that they can generate some leads and grow their business, right? Because in your case, how you were saying before, is most of your business came from social media.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I think also the time I started videos, there weren't many people doing videos, which was back in 2019. So I think that was some advantage I had as well.
True.
Just because you couldn't find many people doing it. Now you find a lot more people. So I don't know how it would be if I started videos today. But again, when I look back, I did start with just like a selfie style video with like closet doors in the background and a ring, and not even a ring light at the beginning. Honestly, it took a year before the ring light came.
They
to
were
the
not
picture.
very popular, I guess, at that point of time, right?
No. So then, of course, if you're one of the rare agents doing videos, you're going to stand out a little bit more, right? So I think that did help. But I think there's still a piece of the pie if you are looking to do social media to build your business. I think it's still very possible. I think you just have to be very consistent. I don't think it's like something where you can just do it once a week, because I feel like when I started, I would do it like once a month, once a week. Now I'm doing like 3 to 4 times per week.
So Simmi, my next question is, with the new interest rates drops and the new mortgage rules that are coming in, how do you see 2025 for real estate market?
I feel like with the 50 basis point cut this week, I think that's gotten a lot more excitement in the market, as in for people's thought process, not so much activity. I think the next month and a half is going to be a little bit slow because of the holidays. But mid-January onwards, like every year we do see activity does pick up because of the pent-up demand during the holidays.
True.
I don't think it's going to be a crazy market like 2021, 2022. I think we have a long way to get there. But I do think the market will be picking up. I think now this is the 5th interest rate drop, I believe it is. So I can see some buyers starting to get a little warmer again. They're starting to talk to me again about being on pause for the last few months, and they're thinking about, next year, like, let's look into it a little bit more after the winter ends or when spring starts. So I can see people are warming up. Again, I don't see it being crazy, but I do see a pickup happening.
True.
I think 2026 is when we'll see more aggressive price increases.
Yeah.
But even like I was just looking at the Treb market update, the average prices from October to November, they're down. So even though that was another interest rate drop that we had, yes, we're going into the holidays, so that's probably why. But it doesn't look like people are just running into the market yet. I think there's hesitation.
There is still hesitation, 100%. And now for the good part is that now for the first-time home buyers that cannot do 20% down, they will still be able to go for properties over $1 million.
Yeah.
So that will bring a lot of major expectation from the buyers. Now they might not even be looking at townhouses or semis, and they would probably want to get into detached, right?
Yeah, and maybe not even consider like condo townhouses, because there's been so many clients I've worked with where their cap is $1 million, and if they just had $1 million, if their budget was $1,050,000, they could have gotten it detached. Like one of my last clients I worked with, we ended up getting a semi, much lower price point than $1 million, but we wanted the detached, but nothing was selling at $1 million in that price in that area that we wanted. So it was just like that $50K stretch. So I know there's some controversy about this, like, it's a lot of debt to take on, but sometimes people just need a little stretch. Like they don't need the 500K stretch. They might just need a 50K.
If you look at the positive side of it, that is that a lot of detached properties, you can convert the basement into a legal unit and then get extra money from it. So that's, of course, going to help you in your mortgage payments, right?
Exactly.
Rather than purchasing a semi or a townhouse for 900K, where there's barely any potential to bring any more income from a secondary unit, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So when working with clients, with the buyer clients or seller clients, who do you prefer working with?
Honestly, I feel like it's a mix. So I love helping buyers from start to finish. It's really fulfilling because they'll be so grateful as well. You're the first person who helped them buy a property. They get their foot in the market. So it does feel very fulfilling. It kind of makes the job worthwhile, how excited they are for that newness to get that property. Sometimes clients will honestly cry with you or like gift you or things like that. And you just feel like, wow, you don't realize how much you're helping people. On the seller side, of course, it's less showings. So you will do more of the prep work, the initial work to get the property ready, whether it's staging, photography, deep cleaning, a lot of things.
More investment, right?
Exactly. More initial investment and more of the trips to the property before it's listed. And maybe if there's people who reach out to see it afterwards. But with buyer clients, you're kind of driving across everywhere to help them find a property. But both ways it's fulfilling. It's just with the buyer side, I think I've done a lot more of it. So you do see that gratitude a lot more of the time. Both ways I do enjoy it though. I do work with both buyers and sellers, more so buyers though. And I do enjoy both.
I think what you touched here is emotional aspect of a buyer.
Yeah.
Is they feel more accomplished when they have, especially the first time home buyers.
Yeah.
So when working with buyers, who are you working with mainly? For first-time home buyers or investor clients?
I feel like it's a bit of a mix. I feel like in the initial years, it was more first-time buyers.
Who's easier to work with?
I would say probably investors because there's less emotional attachment.
True.
So it's just more about numbers, more about the area, more about how the property is. Is this a layout that people are going to like? Is this going to appreciate? What's the rental
It's all
rate
about
here?
numbers.
Exactly.
Less emotions, right?
And exactly. And it's more about like, is this something that we'll appreciate? Like, layout, area, is it close to train track? Like certain things you have to think about just to make sure that you're going to get some money out of this.
True.
Whereas for buyers, we're looking at a lot of aspects. And I notice a lot of buyers will also tell me, Simmi, I'll know once I walk into the home, I'll get a feeling. So investors don't say that. Investors,
true.
to be honest, sometimes some clients I've worked with who are investors, our first day of showings, they put an offer. That's it. They locked in on the property. Maybe it's like 3-4 showings and it's only day one. They didn't even take a day two. They don't have that much of an emotional investment. Buyers though, they need to look around a little bit more. So yeah, investors, they're a lot quicker.
I think the way investors work is they first run the numbers on the basis of the purchase price, and then they go and look at the property saying that, okay, well, what is the layout, right? So their main interest is in the layout and how many rooms we can rent and all that stuff, right? I'm going to come back to my last question. That is, a lot of times when you're working with first-time home buyers, what are the common mistakes that you think they make, and what are the steps they can take to avoid these mistakes?
So I feel like common mistakes first-time home buyers make, they expect way too much in their price range. Not always, but I feel like, and also I understand that they're not familiar with the market. A lot of properties look so good online. Then you see it in person, you understand, oh, that's why it's selling for that cheap. So I feel like people will see properties and they'll think, I see this detached. It went for this price. I should be able to get it. But we didn't see it in person. A lot of the times they don't look as great. So I've noticed a lot of the times first-time home buyers have very high expectations and it'll take a few showings before the expectations kind of come down to reality.
True.
I feel like there has to be the understanding that the first home is not always the dream home. It's not always the perfect home. The first home, a lot of the times for buyers, it's a stepping stone to get into the second property, which it might be the dream home. So I have had clients where there's a really good example. They bought a condo. They got it in the 5s. It increased by 250K or so during the hotter market within 1 year. And they bought a property double plus value. So it was like 1.1, 1.2. But they ended up getting that property and that was their dream home. That's what they wanted initially, but they couldn't afford it because the jobs and the situation when you're a first-time buyer. So I've noticed that clients just kind of have to realize that in GTA and Toronto, it's not easy to get the first home being your dream home. Unless your budget is super expansive, it's just not the case now. Second thing I do notice, a lot of first-time home buyers expect a very good home with resale properties, and resale properties will always have little issues. So maybe like a window screen has like a little rip in it, or the crank for the window is a little broken. I think they'll get really freaked out by these issues, and these are very minuscule issues. Like the things that we want to look for is like mold or leaks or things like that, right?
Major issues,
Exactly. Foundation cracks, those are scary issues. So I always try to advise them when we do inspections and things like that, or even when we're looking at a home, don't let these things deter you because we're looking at the bones. We're looking at the layout. That's very important. Paint and all, it can all be taken away. So if it's green, we can paint it a neutral color. If carpet is green, we can change it. So getting that home with scary colors like that, you'll probably get a better deal actually versus if the home already looked good. So those are some mistakes I see first-time home buyers make quite often. And that carpet conversation I have very often, like don't let the carpet scare you. If it had no carpet, it would be way more expensive than you just removing it. And also expecting the dream home right away. And I think to improve the process a little bit, you have to see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is like those things are very minuscule in the grand scheme. The bigger picture is like you're getting your foot in the door, you're building equity, you might get better jobs over the time of having that home. You can get the home that you want later on. So I'm not saying again the first home being the dream home is not possible. I just don't see it happen very frequently. So I think people just have to see the bigger picture and not wait several years trying to get that down payment or get the better job, because by the time you're waiting all those years, prices have already gone up, most likely. In 4 or 5 years, they've already gone up so much, you're already priced out of the home you want anyways. So you might as well get something during the time that you can, and then build during that time, and then get the home that you want. Because I do see a lot of people pause over the years, and then they're just completely priced out. And then they have to look outside of GTA, which is not bad, but the initial goal was GTA, right?
True.
So I think waiting so many years, trying to have that down payment 20% or whatever, you're going to price yourself out. The bigger picture is important.
True. 100%. I agree with it. And now let's come back to location. Let's say if somebody is looking to purchase within GTA, but the property they want to purchase is not within the budget. Do you see them be flexible with the location and go to another area, maybe outside somewhere GTA, and then spend more time traveling?
No, I don't see that often. I feel like a lot of people, and maybe it's because of COVID too, I think quality of life is really important for people too. Because when we'll even have those discussions, they're like, you know, the drive all the way from Cambridge into GTA versus if I just take something smaller in GTA, it's not worth it. Like I'll get home, I'll be driving 2 hours of traffic, 2 hours there, 2 hours back, 1 hour and a half, something along those lines. Like I know Kitchener is like 2 hours and a half sometimes in traffic. They're like, it just doesn't feel worth it. Then I'm never going to spend time with my family. So I do notice that clients would rather try to get something smaller closer than versus go outside and get something bigger. From what I've seen or the clients I've worked with, for investments and things like that, I see it's a lot more open. But for them to live in, I don't see them stretching too far. I feel like they always will consider that job and the drive and the traffic.
True. But Simmi, I had an amazing conversation with you, and thank you for covering all the topics and your time. I had an amazing conversation, and I'm sure viewers will gain some value from it. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.